Hey guys, Doug the Michigan Piper here in the Pipe Rest, and coming to you today, smoking some Black Gold Maple by Cornell and Diehl. And this is my first. I just did the Char Light, so I can't even tell you what I think so far. Didn't help I ate a cookie before I came down, so might throw the flavor off a little bit. Drinking some mint medley tea. But I've been thinking a little bit. Oh, and I'm smoking in my Peterson Killarney 224, I think. Gotta find it. 221. I've been thinking a lot since a couple of days ago. So my brother-in-law and sister did a very, very cool thing, and got me thinking a lot. So my nephew just turned 16, and for his 16th birthday, they surprised him by getting all the Christian men in his life to come over, and we sat around the garage, and of course it's pretty cold up here, so fired up some salamanders and got the garage nice and toasty, and had some grilled chicken and had some just good food, good fellowship, and most of us were relatives, but it was just a time to surround him and kind of build him up as a young man. And my brother-in-law had asked us to bring some sort of scripture or form of encouragement for him. And I'll be honest, I did not expect it to be as emotional as it was for the men, especially. But it was just such a cool experience. We all went around in a circle and gave our words of wisdom, and those that much that we could muster up anyway. And then when it was over, we prayed over him and over his trek into manhood. Now, for those of you that aren't Christian or don't have those beliefs, it wasn't like a church service. It was just when we were done talking and everybody was hugging, and a couple of us gave gifts, and it was just a prayer. It was just going to God and saying, look, this kid's got a tough row to hoe. He's growing up in a world that's doing everything it can to distract him from the truth. And we're just asking for protection and guidance. So it was very, very cool, you guys. Very cool. I wish I'd have thought of something like that when my son was young. But having said that, the piece that I had brought was about the armor of God. And you find that in Ephesians, where it talks about putting on the full armor of God. And, of course, I felt like I screwed it up when I said it. And then talking to his dad later, he felt like he screwed up what he said. And, we finally came to the conclusion, it's like, we're both, we're sure that he heard what he needed to hear. It's not about our presentation and how nice we sound. It was about what he needed to hear. So, but I told him, I said, every morning when I get up and I come down here to do my devotional, at the end of my prayer, I pray for God to help me to wield his armor well. What I mean by that is anybody can pray for his armor, but I want to be able to wield it well. I don't want to carry this armor under my arm. I want to wear it. I want it to protect me. That's what it's there for. And so I went through the different things with him about what it's there for, and about how the helmet of salvation is there to protect us when it's fitted right from the thoughts of, or the temptation to believe that we're not good enough to be saved. We have that helmet of salvation to say, you know what? No, I do have salvation through Jesus Christ, and I am saved. We have that breastplate of righteousness, not because we are righteous. That's why we need the breastplate, right? And I guess I should back up a little bit, because this is what I didn't tell him, was that, whether you like it or not, you're in a spiritual war, and you need his armor. It's not that he's not protecting us and doesn't have angels doing their thing, but we are in a spiritual war, and if you don't think that we are, then you're probably being convinced that there is no war, so that you can be an easy target and not have to be worried about. And I don't mean that in a derogatory, I hope I didn't come out derogatory, but I didn't mean that in a derogatory fashion. But, we are in a spiritual battle, every one of us, men, women alike. And so in that battle, in those attacks, we can get attacks that, hey, you're not good enough to be saved. You're not good enough for, to go to heaven. And that's why we have that breastplate of righteousness, right? Not because we are righteous, we're not. But in God's eyes, we are, because of Jesus Christ. He died for us so that the debt is paid. And then you get down to the belt of truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And we've got to be able to have that tight around us, right? We have to rely on the truth in order to get us through. We talked about the shield of faith, that protects us from the fiery arrows the devil shoots at us, and all the thoughts, the invasive thoughts and the stuff that comes at us on a daily basis, whether it's you're not good enough, or it's, that's too big of a sin, or you're too far away, or, whatever condemnation comes at you. You have that shield of faith to know that you have a God that loved you so much that he sent his son to die for you. And I'm not preaching here, guys. I'm just, this is what I was explaining to him in my true belief. And then there's a sword of the word, right? Is the word being scripture. And I told him, I said, anybody can have a sword, but if you don't sharpen it, it's basically a club. So you need to know your words. You need to get into it. You need to process it and mull it around. And we have that. And it's funny because we have all this defensive stuff, and there's only one offensive weapon and all that in that armor, and that's the sword, and that's scripture. So it should tell us something about what we know about scripture. And I have conversations with people sometimes. They're like, yeah, I just can't read it. And, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. But I just can't read it. It's like, man, that's your number one weapon, right? And then you get past all that, and the last thing is your feet fitted with the peace that comes from the gospel of grace. And that one took me a while to figure out. Like, what does that mean? And basically, it's that peace that surpasses all understanding. It's that peace that someone has when it's like, you should be falling apart right now. Your world is just disintegrated. You should be in there, and they're just, hey, we got this. Because they have that peace that comes from the Gospels, that comes from, that we've been given through Jesus Christ, right? To give us that peace while everybody else is freaking out. Knowing that whatever's happening is he's got our best interest in mind. So, just been doing a lot of thinking about that, you guys. if you're not familiar with it, I suggest, I not suggest, but I would encourage you to read through that in Ephesians, the armor of God. I think I'll put it down here because I can't remember if it's like chapter 6, I think. But I know it really helps me when I get up in the morning and I pray that prayer. I'm trying to do my best not to pray the same prayer all the time, because it's so easy to do that. And then once you do that, you fall in the trap of just being a computer. But that's one thing that I want to have in my prayers. That, I know I need that protection. I know that I need to focus on those things. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Just want to kind of run that by you, and I can tell you that I'm not even halfway through this bowl yet. I may have to give us another shot, because right now it's not very strong at all. And I don't know if it's how I am today, or if it's eating a cookie or what. So I'm going to try this again, but right now it's not very strong. So I'm not getting a whole lot out of it, to tell you the truth, but we'll see. But guys, I hope you all are doing well. Until next time, you take care.